yourself. Good morning. Happy second day of Chanukah. So, of course, the miracle of Chanukah occurred with the cruse of oil. And while you can light candles, wax, or beeswax, the ideal way to perform the menorah is with oil. What is so unique about oil? So it's interesting that it's pointed out that the word Mashiach, the arrival of Mashiach, is an acronym for 4 words. Mem Shin Yud Ches stands for Madlik Shmonat Yemei Chanukah. You kindle the 8 flames of Chanukah. What's the connection between Mashiach and lighting the menorah? Because the menorah represents transforming darkness with light of holiness. And Mashiach is when the world is transformed to the ultimate light of the world will be filled with holiness, with goodness, with righteousness. However, there's something very unique about oil. As we know, you can do this experiment at home. Of course, you know it, but maybe show it to your children. They'll appreciate it, or your grandchildren. You take water or any other liquid, you mix it with another liquid. It mixes beautifully. But then you pour oil in it, and oil always rises to the top. Oil never mixes with any liquid. It always rises. It floats up to the top. And the idea of oil is the idea that as Jews, we always have to raise ourselves up and raise up the whole world to a higher level. That's what Mashiach is, to elevate the whole world to its ideal state. But not only do we use oil, which rises up to the top, but we kindle a flame. What's unique about a flame? Everything in this world is governed by the rules of gravity. So everything goes in a downward direction. There's one thing that goes counter gravity and pulls heavenward, upward, and that's of course a flame. So not only do you have the oil that rises to the top, you also have the flame that's always yearning to go higher and higher. Once again, to elevate the entire world, that is the goal. But what is the highest point on the menorah? Ironically, we talk about the 8 nights of Chanukah, but there's a 9th candle on every menorah. What's the 9th candle on every menorah? The shamash. What does the shamash mean? The word shamash means servant. It's called the shamash, the servant candle. Why is it called the servant candle? Because it has no purpose unto itself. The whole purpose of the shamash is to light the other candles, and if one of the candles goes out, you take the shamash and you rekindle the flame. So it has no self-fulfillment. It's only there to help and serve others. Now, I asked you a question. If you were designing a menorah, how would you design it? You have the 8 candles. They're the 8 flames for the 8 miracle nights of Chanukah. The 8 candles are the 8 mitzvot. And maybe you would put the shamash on the bottom on a lower level. But the custom, of course, is that the shamash is always the highest candle. Why is the shamash the highest candle? It's teaching us a lesson that as high as we could reach through our own self-realization, fulfillment, progression, the greatest purpose we could serve in this world is to kindle someone else's flame, to ignite someone else's spark, to raise up another person. There's nothing higher than that. Sometimes by raising up others, we raise ourselves up to a level that we could never raise ourselves up to without helping another person. And every time we look at the flames, we say, yeah, we should aspire to higher and higher levels of fulfillment, of accomplishment in our lives. But you achieve the highest level when you become the servant candle, when you serve others, when you do for others, when you help others, when you raise up the flame of another person. And there's a story told about a group of college students. They weren't religious, but they were in Manhattan on winter break, like this time of the year. This was back in the 1970s when it was possible to get an audience with Lubavitcher Rabbi. And they had a relative who was Chabad. They said, we'd like to meet a rabbi, a Hasidic rabbi. It sounds interesting. So they got an audience, and a group of college kids came to the Rebbe's office to talk about Judaism, about faith, about all different, explore questions of Jewish belief. And they spent a few hours with the Rebbe, and there's actually a recording of it. The Rebbe spoke to them in English. It was fascinating, many questions. Before they left, one of the college students turned to the Rebbe and said, Rebbe, I have one last question. The Rebbe said, sure. He said, Rabbi, we're not very religious. We don't eat kosher. We don't keep Shabbat. We don't put on tefillin. Do you consider us good Jews? And that's a loaded question, right? What do you say? So the Rebbe looked at them and said, I'll tell you. You know the story of Jacob when he went to sleep and there was a dream with a ladder that started on the earth and it went to the heaven? They said, yeah, we heard that story. The Rebbe said, that is the metaphor for Judaism. Man is on earth, and our goal is to rise higher and higher and higher to greater and greater spiritual heights, attachment, connection, closeness to God. That's our purpose in this world, to raise ourselves up from our physical, human, mundane, base state to higher levels of spirituality and goodness and righteousness. The Rabbi said the definition in my book of a good Jew is a Jew who's climbing higher and higher. The fact that you're on your winter break, spending your time in Manhattan, there are a lot of entertainment, enjoyment you could have done in Manhattan, but you chose to give up a night of your vacation time to spend time in a rabbi's study to learn about Judaism. That tells me that you're Jews that are climbing higher and higher. And since you're climbing higher, I consider you good Jews. And I love that answer because it's obviously the truth, that it's not where you're at, it's that you're climbing higher, like the menorah. Are you going higher in your life? Are you higher today than yesterday? That's the question that everyone has to answer. But the ultimate brilliance of the answer was that the Rebbe's response raised them up even higher. And I think every day we have so many opportunities to either, God forbid, put people down or to raise people up with our words. What we say to people. Do we give them a boost? Do we give them encouragement? Do we give them a lift? Do we give them empowerment? Then we're like the shamash, we're like the servant candle. And then we become higher through that process as well. Because in life, when you bring out the best in others, you inevitably always bring out the best in yourself.